I was asked to start today's show with the classic line, "Hello, scumbags."
Oh.
Welcome to episode 42 of the
Rebel Scum Podcast.
It's the podcast called Rebel Scum with this guy, James, and
This guy, Brock.
and we're talking Star Wars, shockingly.
Who requested we say scumbags, or you say scumbags?
A friend of mine, Daniel Ojeda. Alejandro Ojeda.
Cool.
He is,
Well,
he
scumbags.
has a Bring Back Teak t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
He does.
Is he part of the Teak Nation?
He's part of Teak. If you see on down there, he will tweet Teak Nation. So shout out to you. He requested that. And there's been a few people. I eat tacos on Instagram. Always shouts us with "Hello, scumbags." So I thought, 42. We're almost a year in. Let's go with back to what I'm sure lost us a bunch of.
See, this is how you normally do it. The fans make up the name for themselves, and then you start calling that, not the other way around.
Like, this is what happened. The second episode, I didn't know how to start a podcast back then.
That's right.
And so I was like, well, I'm just gonna go with it. And I think only us and our moms listened at the time anyway.
My mom prefers making Star Wars over us. Is that a podcast? Not really.
Well, it's they have a few.
Thanks, Mom.
They have a few on there. But thanks everyone for tuning in, checking out. We love your suggestions.
Yep.
And this is going to be updated soon with some artwork sent in. So
we are working on our set, actually. We want to improve because people actually care about watching us now.
Yeah,
so,
we're trying to get a lot more Star Trek Discovery stuff.
Plus all the stuff we keep buying, we have no room for. So I got to change the set so we have depth.
I'm not allowed to have toys in my house.
Yeah.
I got to have a place to store them.
Yeah, I keep getting toys in my... Because this is just at my house.
This is his house. And it's nice to be back here because last week we were not because your schedule was crazy.
We were live from
I
PC.
I went to the dentist. So... before we get started, also these shirts, the Rebel Scum shirts on the TeePublic store will be going on sale May 24th, so check it out. We're also going to be having contests soon, so get your merch going. But anyway,
shout out to TeePublic, fine quality t-shirts. I'm very impressed.
They're actually a great company to deal with too. They email me back right away, and we talk, and we're having conversations. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a lot going on, but a lot going on in Star Wars. Today's new news. Big news out of Japan. We're good.
Godzilla.
But we're not going to start with that. We're not going to start with that. We're going to start
Gojira.
We're going to start with everyone's favorite actor from the film Excess Baggage.
Yeah.
Have you seen Excess Baggage?
No.
Benicio Del Toro, Alicia Silverstone. You can't.
Is that the one where there's heads in a bag?
No, that's 8 heads in a duffel bag.
Oh.
This is, Excess Baggage was, I don't even know what it was. I saw it in the theater. I don't know what it was about. But at one point, he plays like a hitman or something, and he kidnaps Alicia Silverstone.
What movie doesn't he play a hitman?
In Star Wars, The Last Jedi.
But what if he's a hitman in that? Oh, won't your face be red?
Well, I guess if a bounty hunter count as a hitman?
Yeah.
He's not. Okay,
anyways.
So there's a rumor going around, and look, everyone wants him to be Thrawn.
Not
everyone. But, I mean, that would work. But the rumor is now that he is actually playing Duquesne from The Force Awakens. Mention Han Solo says, "Where did you get this from?" And Rey says, "Someone stole this from the brothers. They stole this from this. They stole it from Duquesne." And he goes, "Who stole it from me?"
Yeah.
And so the rumor is that he could be playing Duquesne.
Oh, this is the first I'm hearing this.
This was Winter Star posted this last week, and I said that is nonsense. And I went on the Google search and I typed it in. By the way, I passed the Google Maps car on the way here.
Oh, where? Like on
Mississauga Road.
Yeah.
I was doing an Instagram video.
Yeah, there's a guy that actually lives on Bristol and drives it because it's always in his driveway.
Well, maybe he was just coming from there. Yeah. But anyway, so I went on the Google, I searched it, and that was, and it's not a heavy rumor. Like, it's very light, which is kind of crazy when you think about it this day and age. Well, like, not everyone has picked up on it, but the rumor is, so maybe it's a nothing rumor, or maybe it's completely true, and they're just like, hide that. So the rumor is that he could be Duquesne, and we don't really know anything about Duquesne, from what I can tell.
No.
Aside that he stole the Falcon from Han Solo.
Yeah.
But that could be an interesting, an intriguing point to bring into The Last Jedi, where if you have this Duquesne character who is a Man in Black, maybe he just wants his ship back.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be kind of neat, because then he could end up on Ahch-To or wherever Rey and Luke and Chewie and R2 end up during the movie, I guess.
I like the idea of a throwaway mention in one movie leads to a character in the follow-up.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah,
so it's like it just exists, and you're just thrown in. The character's just thrown in. Like there's no explanation. They're like, he's like, that used to be my ship. That's enough. That's enough.
That's all you need, and then they can do whatever they want with him because he doesn't have a backstory. So you can still do whatever you want.
Non Star Wars fans or enthusiasts rather will be like, okay, that's enough. That's enough explanation.
And then when they go back and watch the Force Awakens, whenever they watch it, they're like, oh, they'll get the little reference that they're going in, and that's why I really like that. So, would you prefer Benicio Del Toro to play Duquesne, Ezra Bridger, or Thrawn?
I guess Duquesne, because we know nothing about him. So it's like he really can't fail.
Yeah, they've been referring to him as the Man in Black, and Duquesne sounds like a name of somebody.
And Thrawn is always in his white admiral.
Although at this point, maybe Thrawn is in black now, like he's completely switched because it's so far along.
The only way I would like it if he was Thrawn, if somehow the last season of Rebels sets it up for what you see in Last Jedi, which I think would be an interesting move. But again, like without having any information, it's I'm just hypothesizing. Ezra, I don't really have a problem. Again, it's like if the explanation makes sense, you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
Rey could be a solo dash Skywalker for all I care, as long as the
Don't say Rey is a solo. People will hate you.
You gotta let me finish my sentence. As long as it makes sense, then great.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with anything being anything. I have faith in Rian Johnson. I've said this before. And Andrew and I have a video coming out for the 40th anniversary on Unleashed 40th anniversary of Star Wars. And I talked with Josh yesterday on that Flying Casual thing. Rian Johnson's the man. He is perfect for this franchise. Perfect. You started off where you need to start off, and now you're going where you need to go. And I don't need to talk about that anymore.
Yeah, he did an episode of Breaking Bad that was amazing. I think it was
the Fly episode. He did 2 episodes. He did the
the Fly episode too.
The best episode of Breaking Bad, but then he also did the Fly episode, which could easily have been the worst episode of Breaking Bad. And I think some people actually aren't big fans of that episode, but
it's unique how it's done.
Yeah, it was very unique. So there's the enthusiasm he had at Celebration and what he believed in Star Wars, and you just knocked my cable. That's cool. Keep going on. Yeah, I think I don't know. I really this Duquesne thing. I really like it, but I don't. It doesn't. I don't have any concerns with it either one way or another.
Because you don't know anything about Duquesne.
Yeah,
it's a cool name, I guess.
It's Ducain. Oh, and I can't remember his first name. It's like Gunther. I think it's not Gunther.
It's Victor. It's Victor Duquesne.
Victor. Oh man, there's been some backlash on people who actually think that Snoke's name is Victor on the interwebs. People are lashing out on people for thinking that his name is actually Victor.
I like somebody said, I forget who it was, said Victor Skywalker. I'm like, that does sound kind of cool.
Well, Victor in front of anything sounds kind of cool. I brought this up with Josh, but the video didn't record. That the name Victor, I was thinking that's not his name. If that's not his name in the movie, what if and that's his code name? Who else has the name Victor? And I was thinking Frankenstein. Oh. And from the rumors that we hear and the theories that he's trying to use Kylo for his body, that name kind of makes sense as a code name.
And like visually, he's a gigantic monster from what we've been told. Like he's actually as tall as we've seen him.
Yeah.
Or roughly.
So that too with the.
I would like that. Like that would be, and I could. That's so Rian Johnson too.
Yeah.
Just those like little, because one of the best episodes in Breaking Bad. Not to go back to that. That's the one where everything's kind of revealed to his family, right? Yeah. That one is called, Ozymandias.
Yeah.
Which there's so many allusions. I remember reading articles like this and this, like Ozymandias, the poem, and there's so many allusions in there. Like, granted, I don't know if Rian Johnson wrote that. He just directed it, but like. I mean, visually, he was in charge of it. So it's like, to throw in like, hey, this is a little nod to Frankenstein. Like, that's not bad.
Yeah, and if anybody that follows Rian Johnson on social media knows he loves classics. He loves the classic films. He respects the classic films, and he appreciates them for what they are. More than a lot of people do, more than a lot of, especially current filmmakers. You know, some of them go back, but there's a huge portion of them that watch Michael Bay's Transformers, which, by the way, that new trailer can't it just can't. There's parts of it I'm like, yes, and then other parts I'm like, I just stop.
I almost want to see that movie just so I understand what is going on.
I want to see it in an hour and a half. I don't want 3 hours of Transformers transforming, and I don't know what's happening on the screen for that long. They're too long. And this movie, apparently, Finn, good old Boyega, said that this movie's just over 2 hours, The Last Jedi. Not that he knows anything, because, I mean, the rough cut's probably 4 hours, and then they'll get it down to 3, and then they'll get it down to whatever. But, but I mean, I'm guessing he has an idea of the length that it's going to be, because everyone kind of knows, right? So he said just over 2 hours, which completely fits into what we would think.
Maybe he's going by the old rule of thumb. It's like every page of the script is 3 minutes or whatever.
It's a page a minute.
Page a minute, sorry.
So
it's like, I counted. In my head, John Boyega is not very smart.
I would love to read the Last Jedi screenplay. I'd love to read the Looper screenplay, actually. That's what I'd like to read.
Oh, yeah. I love Looper. I love Brick. I've never seen his brother's whatever, the second movie, but
I think that's the only one you can get on iTunes and Google Play. Oh, no, Brick might have just came out. They were both gone for a while. But yeah, it was tough to do. Anyway, Benicio Del Toro as Duquesne. It could happen.
That's cool. There's no information though, you know, like it's a cool name, like great, but like we know nothing about the character.
Yeah. And the other thing is when you say we want him to be Thrawn and they haven't showed us pictures because he's gonna have blue skin. The other thing is we haven't seen pictures of Laura Dern either.
Yeah, exactly.
So and the rumor is she has pink, very prequel hair. So either they're hiding her because of the prequel aspect and they're hiding her because of Thrawn, or they just don't want to show us these new characters yet.
Yeah,
and that's it, and that's fine too because we followed this group in the Force Awakens, and now you want us to continue to care about these characters, and that was the problem that Rogue One, I think, it didn't end up really facing, but I think that Disney really or Lucasfilm was really concerned with was, okay, they just fell in love with these characters. Now we're gonna throw these new characters in there, you know, and the new characters, and I love Rogue One, but the Rogue One characters aren't as rich as the Force Awakens characters, but they don't really need to be because they're a side story, so. That's how I felt on that. Anyway, have you been to Japan lately?
I have not.
Really?
I have not. Ever.
I think there was a poster or something. Did you see this? It was on Star Wars Newsnet posted.
I think so.
Where there's some new posters. The big leak on what day was it? Tuesday? Monday?
Yeah.
Wednesday? Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday because we posted our Last Jedi video on Tuesday, and naturally, when we do something.
Oh yes, now I remember. Yeah,
that's how it happens. So apparently, on this poster, it says that there is going to be a huge twist, much like The Empire Strikes Back, possibly even bigger than I Am Your Father.
Wow.
They also, but the other thing too is there's a lot of arguments where Finn is force sensitive and he's not force sensitive and he is force sensitive, and what the hell does it matter? But this says. In this little thing, which could be lost in translation, it could very well be lost in translation, that the Force awakened in Rey, and it says after the Force awakened in Rey, and that's how it all happened. So that's one thing. The other thing is the giant twist in which the Last Jedi is going to happen. Is it surprising to you that there's going to be a twist in the Last Jedi?
No, I don't think so. I feel like is it surprising? I feel like somewhere there's a written rule where it's like it's got to be like this and this has to happen and that has to happen, but like there really is no reason. I mean, we're Force Awakens following what like it was an homage to A New Hope. I think it's where a lot of people start thinking like, oh, that means something like the next movie is going to be like Empire. It's going to end on a sad note and there's going to be some huge reveal. I feel like on anything you read on a poster is kind of garbage because it's like it's
Did
usually.
You see the poster?
No, you said it to me. I can't remember.
It's 2 pictures from the trailer. It's not like a movie poster. It's called Leak or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's I think it's Kylo Ren. The shot of Kylo Ren with the lightsaber. And then it's a shot of Rey where she's very like Anakin, like Vader style. Yeah. And then it's all font. It looks like somebody made a brochure.
Yeah.
Is what it looked like.
But I just feel like, sorry, it isn't a poster, but you know what I mean? Like, anything that's, like, related to a movie, it's just garbage, because it's marketing trying to up the film.
Oh, yeah.
Or it's critics like, yay, which is the same thing. Like, Is there gonna be a huge twist? I would feel so. Because these are like, this is a space opera. There's got to be something crazy that happens. They're not even crazy, but just like, but like, look at, we're going into this movie with questions, so we want answers. So like the answers, depending on your opinion, should be, oh my goodness, like,
yeah. And Warwick Davis let slip that it's going to end with a cliffhanger, so that's not
right. Yeah, that's it.
But now so I Am Your Father is the end of the film. It ends with I Am Your Father. Yeah. Do you think the twist possibly could even happen earlier on? I was
just thinking that. I was like, why not just put it in the middle? Because it doesn't matter, because it's like, you got another movie, so we know it's like.
I watched the movie Passengers. I don't know if there's any Passengers fans out there, probably not. But I watched it, and one of the complaints I kept hearing before I saw it was that the twist is revealed very early on.
Yeah.
So the whole time watching the movie, I'm like, well, where's the twist? Where's the twist? I didn't even think there was a twist in that movie. It just felt like that was the movie.
Yeah.
There was no twist, but people were like, there's a twist, because the trailer led you to believe there was a twist.
Yeah.
But I saw this, I completely forgot the trailer by the time I saw this thing. So anyway, a twist early on might tick people off. That's
maybe, but like, it wouldn't be bad that in the middle it's like, boom, like, what? And then you, like, for all we know, the big twist could be whatever Luke initially tells Rey, which we assume will happen relatively early, if not in the first scene.
Or it could be what Kylo tells Rey.
Yeah.
I still kind of think Kylo's going to be the one.
I mean, a lot of people like our parents, like we always say, that are going to go see this movie and don't listen to us or don't read anything. The reveal that Luke is not Rey's father, that could or could not happen in the first scene, could be the twist for them. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh, he's going to say, I am your father. And like, it doesn't happen. So they're like, oh, that was the twist. It's like, that's not the twist.
Yeah, I mean,
it would be interesting to see him say, I am your father at the beginning of the movie instead of the end, like Empire.
Well, I thought The Force Awakens was going to end with her saying father to him.
Yeah.
That's how I thought. And I was wrong, JJ. I was wrong. So, and then, you know what? I said this before. Everybody came up to me and said, so that's Luke's daughter. So that's Luke's daughter. And then the minute I got that first text, it was like, well, no, not anymore.
It's not a twist if you can figure it out before it happens.
That's the thing. And, you know, but if it would have happened in the movie, it wouldn't have been a twist, but it would have been acceptable. But now that you've waited 2 years and you're going to tell, like, now it's like, well, why don't you just get that over with right away? Like that. So that's why I think, and you know what, that the rumor leak that they showed to the shareholders was that in those cabin thingies on the mountains of Achtu was that Luke says, who are you?
Yeah, right.
Which could go a few different ways. One, he doesn't know her right off the bat. Maybe he finds out about who she is later.
Yeah.
Maybe he just genuinely has no idea who she is. Or maybe he knows, she tells him who she is, and then, but he's like, who are you really, is what could be it.
Or they could have just shot a scene where he does say something like that. And, I mean, it's like in Empire Strikes Back where the end scene, the dialogue is changed for what Vader says.
Yeah.
Like, they all thought he said, oh, Obi-Wan killed your father. And that was the end. So maybe it's something, which is smart. Like, some people are like, oh, why would you do that? I'm like, because to keep it a secret. Because, like, look at the world we live in now where, like, nothing is sacred.
And it wasn't even that big back then. Like, secrets weren't as...
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, you could argue that movie gets created, the idea of spoilers, where it's like, we don't want to ruin this for people, but people will ruin it.
Yeah,
they didn't have internet then.
I know, that's how crazy it is.
Yeah.
There's the idea, like, where Rey's like, I'm a scavenger from Jakku, I'm trying to find my parents, blah, 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 and all of a sudden I have these force abilities, I don't know where they came from, blah, 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 and then he's like, who are you? And she's like, I just told you, and he goes, no, you don't, and then he tells her who she is, and like, he could just be trying to figure out what she knows about her, and then maybe that's when you find out she's a Palpatine, or something dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not. But you know, like, that could be how they made it in that way. The other thing, there was another rumor that came out for that, and this fits into that twist, is maybe as he doesn't know who she is, and she's got all these abilities and very, very strong in the Force, and he can't figure out who she is, but in all the readings that he read, that there will be another one coming after the chosen one, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And then Kylo's like, you don't understand. You are the chosen one. You are the one who's actually supposed to do this. You have to come with me because we have to finish what Vader started, blah, 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 blah. And then that's when, and then Luke actually says to her, you are my father. Now, that's dumb. But the way, so she's because there was a rumor that she is a reincarnation of Anakin.
Yeah.
Now everyone knows that I want Anakin to play a giant part in this trilogy because I think the Skywalker saga should be Anakin's saga. Is like Anakin is the Skywalker saga.
Yeah,
and it makes sense, and it ended with that. But so now I don't want her to be his father, like reincarnated like that. You know what I mean? Not reincarnated, but another chosen one, another prophecy like that, and she kind of carries the same weight that Anakin had, but on a different path. That would kind of work. Or maybe he says, "You are my father." Maybe it actually just is. But then you know what? I also think he would not, Rian Johnson I'm talking about, would not do that because everyone keeps coming up to him and saying, this is going to just be The Empire Strikes Back. And he's like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm making.
I'm redoing a movie.
And why would you, if you're getting attacked already for that, would you have that line in there?
What was the line again?
You are my father.
Oh. I would... Even though I just said it would be kind of cool to have in the beginning, I think everyone knows that I'm like, I don't want Rey to be part of other, like a current character's family. Like, I'm okay with it, but like, why? There's really no importance. Like, why does everyone have to be related?
That's why I like the idea of her being, her connection to Anakin is that like she's a prophet or Anakin was a prophet and she's the actual chosen one or something like that. That's the kind of connection that I like between them.
You're saying also that Rey is Anakin reincarnated? Kind of?
That would be one way to go. But for me personally, I don't like that. I
don't like it either.
I like that they're separate.
Because it seems that like he becomes one with the Force, and then he comes back. Like, why would he want to leave being one with the Force?
Well,
you know what I mean?
Maybe he doesn't have a choice. You know, one thing that Josh...
very true.
One thing Josh brought up yesterday on Flying Casual about Force Ghost was because there's all like, Qui-Gon somehow taught Anakin very quickly how to turn into a Force Ghost, blah, 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 and that's why he's able to. But Josh brought the fact that because he was the chosen one, that was always his destiny. He was always going to be a Force Ghost. Like, he didn't have any training. It's just natural because of who he was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you got to look at like the whole chosen one theory. Like, I mean, well, I shouldn't say theory. Well, you assume chosen one's he's gonna bring balance back to the Force. The way you interpret that could be, well, he brought balance to the Force by just wiping everyone out in a sense. So, I mean, Luke bringing him back is sort of like he eliminates the Jedi who aren't working anymore, and he eliminates the Sith by taking out the Emperor. And now he's gone, so it's like there is that void, and that's why we have a new type of villain in this one. So you could you could say Luke is the chosen one as well. Like Vader's the chosen one because he has to bring Luke. He has to impregnate someone so that Luke can be born as well. I think I'm just going in circles now. I don't know.
How about here's an idea. You know that puts her hand on the rock, comes out breathing very heavily.
Yeah.
And then she just leaves.
Yeah.
She's like, this is too much. Because he says, who are you? She goes, I'm blah, blah, blah. He goes, no. You're. And then she touch another Force vision, right?
Yeah.
Force back happens. Mm-hmm. That whole hand scene, she comes up, she breathes, she runs away.
Yeah.
And then we see Luke just standing there at the cave door.
Yeah.
And then we see something come up from behind and he goes, go. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden, so Rey's there and she goes down and she's like crying or she's like, I can't take this. This is not, no, I want to leave.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, appearing, like my hand just did on the screen, appearing Anakin.
Right.
And he goes, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
And he's like, and then that's even more of their connection. He's
the
only one that can really guide her. And that brings Anakin into it as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, we've talked about that before because it's like, I mean, having seen the Force Vision and Force Awakens, because we hear their voices, we assume somehow their being is attached to that lightsaber, or I don't know how it works. Like, the explanation of that scene would be great. Like, if in the movie, not by directors, but like in the movies, like this happened when you touch the lightsaber because this, right? I'd be okay if like, because I think I said this a couple episodes ago. It was like, it would be cool if like you could see Yoda again, or Obi-Wan, or Anakin, because they're one with the Force. They can appear. Or like, why does that have to only be something that you see in the first trilogy? Yeah, I mean, you put so much importance on. I guess in the Clone Wars where they're like, where is it that someone says to Obi-Wan, is like, you have to go meet Qui-Gon? Is that in the end of
Revenge of the Sith?
Revenge of the Sith? Yeah. So, which sets up how he's able to do all that jazz.
Yeah.
That's right. Sorry, I lost my. Qui-Gon is in Clone Wars as a spirit.
Yeah.
I don't see why you couldn't do that. I mean, especially since Luke has no one to train him. Mm-hmm. Even though you could argue he is a Jedi Knight by the end of Return of the Jedi. What if he wanted to become a master or something like that? Or like the end of Return of the Jedi, you're like, oh, the Jedi Resistance or Jedi Order can now be rebuilt. But how do you build it if you're not if you don't know everything about the Force? I don't know if you can know everything about the Force, but you know what I mean? Like, I'd be so gung-ho for that. I mean, they could put Hayden Christensen back in there, I guess. I don't know.
That'd be solid.
Like you said, they seem to be straying away from adding stuff from the prequels, and I think this should,
Ben Quadinaros should come back. Would you be okay if they go back to Tatooine in this movie? Would you be cool if in the background there was a pod race happening?
I would argue that they would have to go to Boonta Eve, or they should just like, you have to go see a pod racer. It's Ben Quadinaros.
I knew your father, Luke.
And then it's like, no, it's Kylo. And it's not Ben Quadinaros. It's like Trevor Quadinaros. And he's like, Ben. He's like, how do you know that name? Like in Dark Knight or something like that. I don't know. I know that doesn't really work out exactly. I'm just thinking it up.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Who cares? Like, it's just like, we are constantly worrying about like how we might have a crappy Star Wars movie. But a lot of people will argue that the prequels are crappy movies. But, like, like I've said it before, you can't just like, well, you can, but you can't dismiss a couple movies and say the other ones are okay. Like, they're the same universe, the same characters. Like, just because you don't like one, that's going to happen.
Right now, what Star Wars movie do you want to go see? We're gonna go right now. You and I, we're gonna end this early, and we're gonna watch a Star Wars movie. What DVD? What Blu-ray? What digital copy?
Oh, like
going on?
Not new ones, just old ones.
Any of the eight that are out.
Oh, Return of the Jedi. Because someone asked me if I could quote all the lines in that movie, and I'm like, I don't know, but I think that's mostly because I'm old now.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
But yeah,
right.
No, Return of the Jedi is always the answer. Though, I would argue that I'm excited to I want to meet Brock in 6 years when 8 and 9 come out and be like, which trilogy is better? Because Force Awakens is a fantastic film. And if they keep in that trajectory, like the original trilogy has some explaining to do. I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You have some thoughts on anyway. Rey and Anakin connection is imminent.
Oh yeah.
Talk about Luke Skywalker, Tim.
Okay, so this kind of hit me during Celebration because we finally got to see the trailer and we got to hear Luke talk, sort of. And he's this hermit by himself, and the message we get is as though he's sort of like training Rey, or that's what we're led to believe in the dialogue. And he says, the Jedi must end. So that's interesting. It's like we haven't seen this character in 30 years, our time. And he's gone off, and we don't know why, and we don't know what happened. Why did the plucky young go-getter from Return of the Jedi become this grizzled old hermit on an island? And it started making me think that like Luke can only be alone. He can never be part of the group, which I know is sort of hard to understand because it's a movie about this group of rebels that go and strike out at the evil empire. But outside of New Hope, he's alone quite a bit. Like once he gets into, I mean, he's surrounded by other fighters, but like when you go to Empire Strikes Back, they're on Hoth, but then he leaves because he has to go to Dagobah. And then, of course, he rushes back to go save them. But when he gets to Cloud City, he doesn't meet up with his friends till they find him hanging off a weather vane. And then in Return of the Jedi, he comes in alone and he goes away and he's never with his friends again till in the middle. And this is a flawed theory, but it's sort of interesting. Like when we meet him, in A New Hope, he's like this kid on a farm and he hates where he lives and he wants to get away. But it's almost like he's constantly running. So, and to know that in The Force Awakens, and then if you read in the books as well, how often is Luke mentioned in the new canon books? Like, is he actually in? He's not a character. He's just mentioned, right?
Yeah, I mean, Bloodline, the most in.
Yeah, and he just goes off with his nephew, and that's like, or he doesn't go off. Like, there's more to it. Like, we know it's also because
he's more in the comics than he is in the books.
Exactly. So I mean, the comics blow this up because he's constantly with his friends. But like, it's interesting how that character, he's our hero, yet he never. And you'd argue all he wants is to be a part of something. He wants to be part of an empire. He wants to be part of a family. He wants to be part of the Rebel Alliance. But like, he's constantly in the movies alone. And it's interesting that now the one thing that when he found his meaning, he's like, oh, you're a Jedi. And now he's like, oh, it has to end. We don't know why. This theory is, and I just find it very, very interesting. He's the lone hero. He's kind of like he's like the littlest hobo for our Canadian fans, where he comes into town, saves the day, and leaves. There's probably another better example of that. I don't know, the Lone Ranger, maybe.
I didn't watch the Littlest Hobo.
What?
Yeah, I didn't watch. I didn't watch a lot of bad TV.
Excuse me. It was a German Shepherd that saved the day.
Didn't watch a lot of that. Lassie was better.
It's basically Lassie. Yeah. Did Lassie carry a rifle through a field? No.
Probably. Anyways. Have you seen all the Lassies?
Probably. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there because it's like, it's interesting how it's sort of. I know that when you read the books and when canon and non-canon and the comics, it kind of throws it out because it's like, oh no, he's with all these people all the time, but he's constantly. It's almost like he's defined himself by a Jedi, and then because of that, he has to remove himself.
Yeah.
Which would make sense because attachment isn't something the Jedis are supposed to have.
Yeah, the only thing is attachment is what destroyed the Sith.
Yeah.
And brought Anakin back. It was attachment to his family.
Right.
So I think honestly this is where Luke, I think the Jedi way, I think that's what Luke's onto, is the Jedi way is wrong. And maybe all of his isolation has taught him that being alone is actually what brings you to the dark side.
Right.
You need compassion. You need sentiment. You need all these people.
But then why does he say the Jedi have to end if the Jedi are a united front?
I think it's the order. I think he means that as like
right. Oh yeah, I can agree on that.
And that's why I think I talk about with Andrew how he is the last Jedi.
Yeah.
And then Rey is kind of the first Jedi of this new Jedi order.
She becomes a starfighter.
She becomes the last.
Which then becomes the last starfighter.
That is a great
So that's
film.
something that hit me. I'm like, oh. So it's interesting because it's like in expanded universe non-canon books, it's like the first thing they do is he has to go find out more about restarting Jedi Order, and then he meets Mara Jade. They get married, they have kids. He's started like the obvious solution is like he has to do this.
Yeah, which is where I'm hoping that The Last Jedi doesn't take us, because I think that's the flaw of The Force Awakens. It's almost like we're gonna do this. That was in the expanded universe, which George Lucas was like, the expanded universe is a side stupid. They're doing everything that they shouldn't have done in the expanded universe. Like they went in a completely the wrong direction altogether of where like Luke never would have done that because he knows he knows from the original trilogy what happened.
It's almost like his story has to be tragic because if we argue that there has to be Jedi and there has to be a good side of the Force at all times, it all falls on him. So he can't really be himself. He can't want things. He has to go out and restore order. And that might take a lifetime. So, arguably, you could say Obi-Wan has done that as well. He devoted his entire life, even though the Clone Wars fleshes him out, and he's... What is the character? Princess Satine that he's sort of like attached to?
Duchess.
Duchess Satine. Sorry. Thank you. Sorry.
House Vizsla and
Clan Vizsla. One of these days I will understand that. I do want to do research on Mandalorians and try to understand. Because all the names are stupid. Sorry. They're kind of stupid. Pre-Vizsla? Really? Anyways.
I like post-Vizsla.
Post-Vizsla.
That's my favorite.
Pre-Vizsla canon? Non-canon. But like, God, where was I going?
Rey's a Mandalorian.
Yeah, Rey's a Mandalorian. But yeah, so I think that's interesting. Guys, throw out your ideas. Like, I think it's interesting to look at Luke as an isolated hero. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Maybe I'll work on that theory. It was something that occurred to me while we were at Celebration. I'm like, oh, I just had this really weird idea.
It's a good point because he is always in isolation.
Yeah.
And when he is finally with people, with his friends, he has to leave them for one reason or another.
Exactly.
Which makes you think, is he going to have to leave Rey at some point?
Right. Do you think we'll ever get an all Jedi movie? Which sounds like a dumb thing to say. But Star Wars is two things. A movie about the Force and a movie about the Galactic Civil War, or whatever you want to call it. So the battle, the wars of the galaxy. Now, you could argue Rogue One is strictly about the war. Could we get a movie where it's just like Jedis being Jedis? Basically, like a Kung Fu ninja movie.
I think that's what you get in an Old Republic style movie.
Yeah. Oh, and there's big buzz on that. That Netflix, the idea of that being on Netflix is just growing and growing and growing. It's weird reading about it when people are like, oh, this could happen. It's like, oh, I know this. We've been talking about this for like 6 months, I think. Like, it'd be a really great idea. And Netflix is really changing how we do things. I mean, I was just watching I was watching a trailer about a Netflix movie, which is really cool. It's not a new idea. Like, there's a lot of like Netflix original movies, but there's cool stuff that like you probably couldn't make because people on the movie theaters want to watch, but like it's a different kind of audience in Netflix. People will watch like, oh, that's really cool. Have you discovered a lot of different movies on Netflix, or what are you like? Are you just like, oh no?
I watched 22 Jump Street the other day. I don't know. I don't really go on Netflix. Like, I'm not. You know me. I'm like. I just sit at home and I write on my computer.
Right.
I don't really watch. I like if it's like find a movie. I go on. And I go and I look at the top 10.
I think there's a lot of movies that do get that attention. Like, I think the movie Kings of Summer, which was an indie movie, I think a lot of people knew about it, but I think it got a lot of
the only thing on Netflix that really had an impact on me was Stranger Things. The first time I saw the Stranger Things trailer in like February last year, 2 years ago, I was like, oh, that's something I want to watch. Yeah. And that was it. I've never really they don't really, I don't know. That
is true. You don't tend to watch a lot of the series. Like, you've never watched like Master of None or 13 Reasons Why.
I've seen Stranger Things and Bloodline.
Oh yeah, Bloodline. I keep thinking like Bloodline isn't an original Netflix thing, but it is.
It ends this May. And the only reason I watched Bloodline was because of Erin. She was like, I started watching the show, you have to watch it. And then I was like, okay.
Like, you've never watched like House of Cards or Orange is the New Black, so.
No. I've seen the first season of Game of Thrones. I don't watch anything.
This is our new podcast. What James hasn't watched.
Everything. I literally sit at home and I write.
Yeah.
I pretty much just write, or I play Darkwing Duck, the video game. That's what
Launchpad McQuack.
Also, shout out to Jason Brothers for getting us that Mace Windu pop figure.
Oh my God, you're amazing.
We'll send you an address today, promise. But right now, let's go into...
Never tell me the odds.
What are the odds? They are never telling.
Brought to you by Protocol Droids.
Oh, I thought this one was brought to us by Teak.
Teak Nation.
All right. Everyone thinks that in The Last Jedi, a character is going to lose a limb. What are the odds? That character will be Snoke. What are the odds of Snoke losing a limb?
I'm going to go full Brock on this, James, because I have zero information, so I cannot make a decision. Like, that'd be cool, I guess. I mean...
Well, you don't know if it'll be cool.
I mean, we don't even know if he'll move that much. I know we know it's a puppet, but... I think I've said before, like, any big duel or battle between Snoke and someone should be in episode 9.
What are the odds Snoke is a Hutt? That's not a real odd. Can you imagine? He's like, I would love that.
He's a tiny Hutt underneath the gown, and he's just moving strings. And
15%, 1.5,
Yeah.
because I don't think he's going to get much action. I think he's going to be a big part of it, but I don't think action-wise he's going to get a lot. But it would be cool if he's the one that ends up losing a limb, because I think Rey's the obvious one that everybody's like, Rey's going to lose.
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
And then Kylo's next in line.
Right.
Could Luke lose another one? That's kind of weird. I don't think Leia's destined to lose something. Poe, Finn aren't in the equation.
I think that for going back to Snoke, it's like if he loses a limb, it won't be as big, because I feel like once he loses a limb, he dies right after. Like I feel like you don't, like the villain, you just destroy him.
Or he loses a limb and another one grows back and he goes, "You will never destroy me, Skywalker."
He looks right. He breaks the fourth wall, looking at the audience. It grows back, and she's like, "Ha."
Don't, we're on iTunes. You can't swear.
I didn't. This is a video.
Yeah, but the video is also on iTunes.
This is a podcast.
Are the odds of Finn using a lightsaber in The Last Jedi?
Zero, because I just do not want it to happen. I know people. Look, fans, scumbags. You are allowed.
That's how you get them on your side.
You are allowed to think he's force sensitive. Personally, I do not want it to happen, because why do we need more than one force wielder unless we are going to spend the movie reestablishing some kind of group? And that's why I say, oh, wouldn't it be great if it was all Jedi? That's where you do that stuff. And I'm cool with people like being aware of it, but like don't give him a lightsaber. Like I would argue that Finn touching that lightsaber at all was just to throw us off of what was going on.
Totally.
But you know, I say 0% because I do not want it to happen.
I'm going to go 0 as well. But if he does, everybody that thinks that he will, write your name down. We will write it on the list. And if he does, we will acknowledge all of you in the episode following.
Stream the name.
We'll have and it'll just, our whole podcast will be all of you. And we'll even, you know what, send us a video saying, "Told you so." We'll put that on.
Yeah, no, that's what I was just going to say. Like, when the movie comes out, we should keep track of what people are saying. It's like, these are the fellow people that are wrong.
And it's just our names.
And then it's like, and then when we're wrong, we're like, we would like to apologize to the following people, but they go super quick.
Perfect. All right, so both of us 0% on that one. I love Finn; he's great. But but Han Solo was also great, and I did not know him to use a lightsaber after that. All right, and the odds of Luke reuniting with Darth Vader's helmet.
Whoa! How did I miss this on the rundown?
Because you don't read.
That's true. Ooh, I like that. I'm gonna go 80%. I feel like it is sort of Shakespearean. Like, I knew him. Alas, I knew him, poor Rey. That'd be awesome. That'd be a cool visual.
Yeah, 75%. I'd really like to see that happen. I think it'd be cool. And I mean, that's something that, like, just the imagery alone is enough to make me want to see that. All right, that's the end of our odds. Those are our 3 odds for today. Now we go on to books and or
comics.
What? Do you have anything?
I do. I caught up with a few things this week. Sorry for my laziness on this. It's just been busy. I read Poe Dameron. I read the second issue of The Force Awakens, the Rogue One thing, and I should have reread it because I'm like, was there anything cool? It was good, but anyways. And I also got issue 1 of Star Wars Screaming Citadels.
Oh no, I want that one.
You can borrow it if you want it. It's interesting. I guess I'll start with that one. Yeah. So, basically the comic was exactly as I described it. Luke has to meet up with Dr. Aphra to go on some kind of search or something, right? It actually works in with the Dr. Aphra series, which I guess is ended now. I haven't read the last issue that they did. I think it was 6.
I don't think it's over. I think it's just a break, and this is
because what she discovered. I brought this up on a past episode where her and her father go on another search, and they find this. I guess it looks like a crystal. It could be just a box, but it's got the essence of this old Jedi master, and he's in it. So she's like kind of quid pro quo with him. It's like, you're a Jedi. You need a master. If you help me with this thing I need to do, I will give it to you. So, and I forget what exactly she wants from him, but they end up going to this planet where this queen has this event where she likes to meet new kinds of, like, not people, but just everything. Like, look at this alien, he can do this. And she brings him, like, this is a Jedi. Or he does the Force, and she, like, knows. But then at the end of it, it turns out like the queen is like sucking the life force out of people. So I guess she's a vampire, and maybe that's why it's a screaming citadel. Very cool art, very nice. I'm interested. I'm hooked. Not a ton happens, but I would like to see just to see Luke with this Jedi Master essence or AI or whatever you want to call it. That'd be interesting to see what happens with that. Poe Dameron, they wrapped up the story of he's trapped in a cave and Agent Terex and his band of the Rogues. Yeah, I think that's it. They're like chasing him, but then Poe's able to take out all his guys, and then Terex has him. And he's like, "You're gonna die now," and it's like, "Nobody can save you." And then he gets saved because BB-8 was hidden in the cave, even though they thought he was destroyed. So that ends. He pulls Terex out of the cave, but of course, the Empire or the First Order's there, and they're like, "Well, you're coming with us." Like, well, what if I give you this guy? So he gets to go free because he gets them Terex, and then there's a space battle during this where the Durian, I should have wrote his name down, that's also in Shattered Empire, his A-Wing gets blown up. So he sacrifices himself to save other people. So that's sad, and because in there's 2 issues I read, and the latest one is they have a funeral, and Poe does this, like, Poe has this speech where you're like, oh, is he going to say something about, he's like, I knew him, and he's talking about the Force and all that. It's like, oh, are we going to hear about Force trees? We do not, of course. It was interesting, though, and now Terex is in the hands of Phasma, and he's like, oh, I have this information I took, because C-3PO is there as well in these caves, and Terex takes out his, like, hard drive, I guess. It's like, I have information of the Resistance. And they're like, this, like, Phasma holds up a thing. He's like, it's garbage. I can't remember why. But so, like, it could have gone bad. But then they figured it. So that's where it is. So it looks like there's a new storyline starting, which I think would be interesting if it's totally different. And then Terex comes back. No, it won't be like that. Because Terex now has it's not like a Lobot thing, but they've, like, put a computer chip in his head. Now he's, like, submitting to the so hopefully, maybe he'll get out of that, and then that'll be a cool thing later, because now we have someone who wants to stop the Resistance and also wants to stop the First Order.
We need more of that.
And then the Rogue One issue 2 was good. I feel like there was a couple of little details that weren't from the movie, but it is an interesting way to read it, because it kind of flows differently to the storyline. Art is very good as well.
How does it compare to the Force Awakens?
It's
adaptation.
Profoundly better.
Yeah.
I feel at points I'm like, oh, this is cool. I like this, even though I know what's about to happen. Yeah. Like the Force Awakens one was just so this, then this. It's not as exciting because it's a comic, so you don't read it. But like, I feel a little bit more. Rogue One's a little bit more exciting.
All right, cool.
Oh, you know what's cool about it? The Boggle It one, you can see how it's written. The Boggle 2, but you get to see what happens in Bodhi's mind. And it's not revealing anything. It's just like, oh, that's cool. You get to see him as a young person, sort of thing.
Some of the artwork in the Art of the Force Awakens, the concept art, was really cool for the Boggle, but and then they failed.
It's like
miserably.
Boggle and Boggle. That's one thing I love about reading Star Wars stuff is like you hear all these names, like how do you say that?
Yeah, it's true. I read Darth Maul issue number 3. Next week I'm going to do Rebel Rising review, but this I did Darth Maul issue number 3. I just wanted to talk about this because it was a waste.
Really?
It
looks exciting though.
Yeah, it looks exciting. Then you read it and nothing happens for however many pages it is. Because I kept reading it and it really felt like a filler. But I'm like, this is not like there's nothing complete. I know it's the middle of a series, but there's nothing to like. It didn't really excite me at all. Like, and I love Darth Maul and I like the characters and throwing the Cat of Bane and all that. Yeah. And it was like not much happened and I just felt empty after reading it. Like because I find them short because I don't read that much comics. So and they're short. But the first one I enjoyed. Second one I thought was better actually. Yeah. And this one was like 2 steps back and I was really disappointed by this one. But next week I'll do Rebel Rising, which is very much about Jyn Erso.
Oh, is this the YA?
And last week I did Guardian of these Worlds, and these YA books are good.
Cool.
They're good. All right, now it's time for Live from Coruscant.
That's what I was waiting for.
Ba-dum-bum.
Today, somebody's noticed that there's somebody in the background of a picture. So we saw this at a celebration. This is one of, I guess I shouldn't say, just talk to the video. But anyways, one of the pictures that Rian Johnson revealed at celebration, you know, he likes to take candid photos of a photographer, is a picture of Billy Lord. But in the background, there's an actress who people are like, hey, is that somebody? And it is somebody. It's Amanda Lawrence, an actress. She's in the movie, and apparently he was very... Rian Johnson was really psyched about working with her. I tried looking her up. I don't know who this is. Yeah, so she's in it, and she's a resistance officer.
Yeah, she's definitely just a background character.
Yeah. For those just listening to podcasts, if you look up the pictures, it's obviously it's the one with Billy Lawrence, the woman standing directly behind her. So yeah, that's cool. We saw. We have none. Again, I can't wait till the summer so we can stop like getting these like bogus stories, or I don't know. I just want this movie to come in. Anyways, and speaking of movies coming out, Han Solo, Phoebe, what's their name? What's their full name? Phoebe something.
Wallace.
Bridge Waller.
Bridge. Yeah.
Hold on. I want to get it right.
We're good with names.
I'm not reading the articles because I remember. Anyways, she is in Han Solo. She's the actress
Phoebe
who just
Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, okay, so I was right. She just won an award for her film Fleabag, and I've seen her in oh god, Crashing, which is not the Pete Holmes show from HBO. That's a show from the UK. And she's gonna be in this movie, and she said in our once she won a BAFTA, and I believe she was interviewed on this, like saying, "Oh, Han Solo, what can you tell us?" She's like, "Nothing. I've already been told that I cannot tell anything," and she's nervous about it, and that's a story. So I mean, a lot of people are assuming she's she's gonna be CGI, and she's probably gonna be this female droid that we're all talking about. Meanwhile, Woody Harrelson is just shooting his mouth off. Yeah. Apparently, he's said that his character of, Beckett is not going to be an evil person. He's definitely going to be a criminal, but he's going to be a good person. Which, again, none of this is information, but whatever. Like, it's kind of neat to hear people talk about stuff. And then I feel like this was this week. But I feel like I've heard this a bunch of times in the last couple.
This week was Attack of the Clones' 15th anniversary.
Right.
15 years ago,
right.
As of the 15th was...
We were disappointed again. No. But it's been pointed out that apparently originally Padme wasn't supposed to end...
Well, no, she was still going to die from heartbreak.
She's still going to die, but like, it was going to be more of a dramatic ending where she was actually going to fight with Anakin. There was talk there's apparently mentioned that she had a knife and she almost stabs him. But, you know, a lot of people have an issue with this ending because it's like she just dies of a broken heart, and she's supposed to be like a Leia character where like she's not a damsel in distress. I would argue, though, on paper, that ending is very Shakespearean, where it's like you devoted yourself to this person, and you're like there, and you knew, or like she knew that something was going to happen. It wasn't going to work, but she put her heart into it, and then it happened. And like there's a way they could have. It just because it happened so fast. Plus, the movies, we don't really.
Well,
I would argue buy into Padme and Anakin's relationship.
The other thing is the droid saying she died from a broken heart.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
If you take out that line and you just accept the fact that she died,
it says it's like she gave up the will to live.
But if you just remove that line,
true,
then all of a sudden you just accept her death, because then even you can convince yourself, which we all did for all of the Force Awakens, everything in the Force Awakens. We convince ourselves of this, and Anakin's actually the one that killed her. Yeah. But as soon as you put the line in, then you can't.
But there's so many things happening in Revenge of the Sith. It's like you would have to give her at least like 30 more minutes of screen time to really make something pay off, I think. The broken heart thing doesn't bother me, but I get why people don't like it, because it's just like, I'm done. Like, didn't you just survive? Didn't you go into an arena with all these droids and monsters and survive?
Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher.
Okay.
That's how Debbie Reynolds passed.
That's true.
It
Died of a
happens.
broken heart.
Love is deep. That's
And
why-
baby Kylo. Apparently Kylo is a very popular name. It's gone up from like 3,000
I'm amazed it was
name
even
to 900.
I'm amazed it was even on a list.
It's been reported that it's moved up in the list of popular names. It's not like number 1 or anything like that. And there are people that are naming their kids like Luke, Leia,
Yeah.
Lando, what have
like
you.
names.
Real names. But yeah, people apparently the name, like organization that keeps track of baby names, so I guess census, would they say that people are drawn to short names like Milo and Kai, and they're saying, well, Kylo's like a Kai and Milo put together, which I say that's fine. Like Kylo's not a bad name, but why not just name your child Kyle and just nickname them Kylo?
Kylo's the new Kyle.
Let's ask our friend Kyle Wenzel what he thinks about that.
He wishes his name was Kylo.
Does he?
Yep.
Cool. So that's the news, unless... there's other big news.
There's one more news.
I wish we got an ice cream cake, because it's George Lucas's 72nd birthday this week.
73
73,
years young
yeah.
on Mother's Day, May 14th.
You don't count the first year.
Oh, don't even say.
So it's crazy, because he doesn't look 70, but when you do the math, yeah, he's old.
He's in production on American Graffiti 3.
What about the second one?
They made a second one.
Did they?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
more
they did.
American Graffiti. It's so... He didn't do it.
No,
It
yeah,
is
yeah.
so dark. Harrison Ford's in it.
Oh,
but
nice.
it is. Richard Dreyfuss is not. But it is so dark and so disturbing. You can't watch... You're like, but I fell in love with these characters. I don't want to watch Richie Cunningham. They just start yelling at each other. And you're like, stop it. And then Harrison Ford's a cop. Which is a really funny...
Oh, yeah. So anyways, happy birthday to George Lucas. We are happy that you exist, because we would not have a podcast.
And we wouldn't have Howard the Duck.
That's true.
But yeah, happy birthday. You good?
Yeah, that's it.
It's time for the top 5.
Top 5.
Today's top 5 are brought to you by TeePublic shirts that you can get on sale starting next week.
Yeah, T-Public. When you
I
want to go into public and wear a T, T-Public.
Okay, so the rumors of an Obi-Wan film are running
Yes.
rampant. So it seems like it is inevitable, with the exception of the fact that every time Ewan McGregor goes somewhere, they ask him and he kind of answers, yeah, I'd like to do it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like he'd be like, I can't really talk about it if it was really happening. So maybe it's not happening. But we want to think it's going to happen. So our top 5 today, our top 5 characters we would like to see in a possible
This is a good one.
Obi-Wan film.
You've
Top 5
outdone
characters.
yourself this week, James.
I didn't even think of it, so mine are going to be terrible. What's your number 5?
My number 5, because I feel like this would happen anyways, would be someone that's related to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Someone in the Kenobi family. I know that's vague, but like I feel like we would... I don't want this list to be all of people we've met, but I think like if you're going to get an Obi-Wan film, you got to know a little bit about him. Even if it's just a thing at the beginning where like a young Qui-Gon or Yoda comes and picks up young Obi-Wan. It's like, you will be in the Force. And then you just see his parents, and that's it. They don't even have to talk. It's just like, oh, that's who they are. That's all. I just want to know, because he's sort of an origin story. That would be great.
Sabine Wren.
Interesting.
Because of his ties to Mandalore. And that's a way to get a character from an animated series into a live action.
Yeah.
You put them into a spin-off, much like Saw Gerrera,
Yeah.
where you can even change the character a little bit because the time would be around the same,
Yeah.
so it'd be the same age. So I would go with Sabine Wren for sure. Number 4 for me is Watto.
Which is interesting because he never actually meets him.
No, he doesn't, but he would be on Tatooine, and so
Yeah,
would
yeah.
Watto.
Yeah.
And Watto would be older, and he would wear
Yeah,
more of a hat and probably have like a beard. And he was like, I'm Watto.
My number 4 is Bail Organa, because I feel like after Force Awakens, Rogue One, he's kind of our tether to Obi-Wan in the new Star Wars regime. So that'd be cool. And those guys are both acting still, so put them in.
Number 2?
Number
Number
three.
3. Number 3?
Yeah.
I can't count. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Yoda. Like I said, I didn't want to make it all, but like it would be great. It'd be great to see them talking in a post Revenge of the Sith world. So even if it was like through some communication, like when Ezra talks to Yoda in that Jedi temple, something like that.
Uncle Owen.
Interesting.
I want to see what their dynamics like. I know what it was like in the old EU. I want to see what it's like now, because we know that from Rebels that Obi-Wan watches over.
Yeah.
Do they even have any interaction with each other?
Right.
And even then, it might be cool just to see Uncle Owen off to the side every once in a while. I would like to see that.
I didn't include Uncle Owen on it because I just assumed he'd be in it anyways, I guess. Or I just didn't even think of it.
Never assume anything, Brock.
But like as I said before, the Obi-Wan journal in the Star Wars comic is amazing. And it's just basically fun times with Obi and Owen, like the double O bros.
My number two. Qui-Gon Jinn. I want to see, and I mentioned this on Flying Casual yesterday with Josh, and this is what I kind of think. An Obi-Wan film would be kind of cool if it was his journey on how to learn how to become a Force ghost. So it's kind of an adventure film.
Yeah.
Much like Jedi getting their crystal for their lightsaber. It's kind of in that. And Qui-Gon has to guide him to get this.
I also have Qui-Gon as my number 2. Same idea, like either Force ghost or maybe in the beginning he meets a young Obi-Wan and like you are going to be my Padawan, or
that's cool. I could live
something like that. And then my number 1 is going to be Anakin Skywalker.
That's my number 1 too.
I guess in the same vein as Qui-Gon, as a ghost or really as Vader.
I would have him. I would actually really like an adventure of Obi-Wan and Anakin hanging out together. Seeing them.
Yeah.
You know what I would like in The Last Jedi, if both of them are Force ghosts in this movie? I would like to see their rapport, how they're like good friends. And I would like to see some of that happen. Some banter between the two that we didn't really get in the prequels. We kind of got a little in the prequels, but we know that we can get a little bit more. So like Anakin, number 1 for me as well.
Yeah.
That was anticlimactic. You could do so much with the Obi-Wan film when you think about it. I worry, though, that when you start to do these films, you start to take away from the lore of the character a little tiny bit.
I mean, that's the thing. Like Obi-Wan is an interesting character, but we know very little. I know, like, you can argue that Clone Wars gives you a lot more Obi-Wan, but, like, I think we still don't know a lot about him because he's sort of, I'm a Jedi Master, and this is that, and I follow the rules, and I kind of was in love with someone, but not really, and da 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 da. But we've never really investigated his thoughts. I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of slack on that one, but so, I'm
not even gonna comment on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send your complaints to Brock Smink
bsmink@hotmail.com.
That's episode number 42. I would really like, though. Bring back like Dooku and Sifo Dyas and give me something in that era.
Oh yeah,
and show more about the clones army and all that stuff. I think that would be really cool. That could even be your Netflix show or your HBO show or your ABC, not ABC, please. Just because of S.H.I.E.L.D., I can't handle that anymore. Is that still on the air?
Yes.
I don't watch things, guys.
Now it's all Hydra stuff.
Really?
Because it's Marvel. Well, it's still Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but like because now Marvel's really pushing Hydra and all that jazz.
They're still pushing Hydra?
Oh yeah. There's a new thing coming out because Captain America, Red Skull did a thing, and now Captain America has been a secret Hydra agent this whole time.
Wait, in the comics?
In the comics.
Okay. I was going to say
because
I thought Hydra kind of ended after Winter Soldier. I kind of felt like they disappeared from the movies.
Kind of, yeah. But
I don't know.
When you cut off one of their heads, another one grows.
Well, Hugo Weaving wants to come back as Red Skull.
He does now? Okay, anyways.
Apparently, paychecks, man, paychecks.
This has been Talking Marvel.
This is episode 42. We got 10 to go until the 1 year anniversary. We got big things coming. Next week is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars. We have a cool show planned for that one. All week, actually, on the channel, we're going to have 40th anniversary stuff going on. It's been a lot of fun. Contests are coming. Make sure you get your merch. Make sure you, if you put us on social media, make sure you hashtag Rebel Scum Podcast. And
Oh, did we talk about Yogi Designs? Or Yogi Designs?
Yeah, Yogi
Kevin
Designs.
Colgan.
Yeah, we will be putting them. You'll see.
Oh yeah, we mentioned it, but I don't know. It was like big shout out to some of the stuff you work on. That's great, and I know you're a big fan of us, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. It is going to go right somewhere where you can see it.
Yeah, but like the whole set's gonna shift around at some point.
Well, that's your doing.
Wow.
I'll come over and help because I have free time. Thanks, everyone. I'm James. You can find me online at Petsafina. Kick my butt at Battlefront on PS4 at Petsafina. And Brock, everybody can find you at
BF Smink on Instagram and Twitter. And that's it. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around. We really appreciate it. May the force of others be with you.
Always.
Hey, scumbags. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up on our video. As always, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Rebel Scum Podcast, for all the latest videos.